Well, at the very end of season two, we saw Will, I think, still ready to go in one of two directions and unsure which direction he was going to choose himself, whether it would be to part with Hannibal to this, whatever their life together would be on the road, or, team with Jack. And obviously, he chose the latter of a sort, or at least chose a middle way, which was to, I think, try and tip off Hannibal in the hope that he would leave and everybody would be spared. That's obviously not what happened, so we're left in a pool of blood in the kitchen. I think that Hannibal is somebody who he's never let his defenses down in terms of his feeling of friendship and love for Will, but he's also just somebody who's never been deceived. His radar and his antennae are too good for that. He is the deceiver. He's not the deceived. And the fact that Will both rendered Hannibal vulnerable, but then also tricked him for a while, I think was profoundly upsetting to Hannibal. Well, we have to assume that Hannibal has a life elsewhere that he can step into. Or to put it another way, even if he doesn't have it all ready to go, he is the kind of man who, despite being surrounded by beauty, is ready to walk away in an instant and rebuild. And I guess it's also possible that he doesn't want to do that alone. He doesn't want to leave behind absolutely everything from his previous life. So as we see, he's not alone in the plane. He's heading to Europe with Bedelia. I think at the beginning of this season, Brian has done something very interesting with time and the nature of time. So to begin with, we start, I suppose, fairly conventionally, although we jump ahead right into the action because we're with Hannibal and Bedelia in Europe. We see that world, we see where they are, what he's doing, what his plan is. And it's a completely new Hannibal. It's a very, very rich, kind of fun-loving, doing what he does best, with this strange, ambivalent kind of sidekick, I suppose. Lover, partner, captive, it's not clear. But then Brian kind of doubles back on himself. So we're back. We revisit the end of season two. We deconstruct that scene in the kitchen to a certain extent. Not just because we're trying to play clever tricks, but because all these characters are looking at time and wondering if they can turn the clock back and what that would mean. And I suppose one way that exhibits itself is that I decide to go back through Hannibal's past, learn more about him, place him in some context, understand him. So that's a whole new world as well. As I say, a lot of the way this season unfolds is a kind of blossoming of where we left the last season, and not least in terms of the different characters who are left bleeding out. So everybody has a different story of survival, or maybe not of survival, and they are threaded in through. I mean, it takes a while to play itself out because we're going back and forth, but those questions will all be answered ultimately. And the other thing that stems from last season is that we talked, Hannibal and Will talked about Misha, about his past, about his sister, and I mean that was just a moment, but that we go much further into that story.